everybody, and thank you all for attending our press conference today. My name is Charlie Luken, and I am the chairperson of the Ohio Jobs and Growth Committee. We're here today for a very important announcement, and I've just got a very small part. The only thing I will say is that my many years as mayor of Cincinnati taught me one thing, and that was if you're on the side of the cops, 99 times out of 100 you're on the right side, and 100 times out of 100 you're on the winning side. So we're excited today about the announcement that we have, and to present it to you, I want to introduce one gentleman before I introduce our first speaker, and that is Nick DeMarco. And Nick is the president of the Ohio Fraternal. Thank you for being here. And to speak for the Ohio Fraternal Order of Police, we have Mark Drum, who is the treasurer. Mark.
Thank you, Charlie. I'm here today on behalf of the Fraternal Order of Police of Ohio for two purposes. First of all, to announce our endorsement of the Ohio Jobs and Growth Plan on the November ballot. To back up that endorsement, we wish to announce that we're kicking off a new coalition called Cops for Casinos, made up of organizations all over the state that represent law enforcement officers. Members of our coalition will be working hard between now and November 3rd to spread the word about this very important issue. There are tough times for local governments all over the state. We are seeing communities all over Ohio struggle with declining revenues that have forced them to consider drastic cuts in their public safety services. And even in increasing numbers throughout Ohio, layoffs of their public service forces. The Ohio Jobs and Growth Plan meets that problem head on. It allocates an estimated $332 million a year in casino tax revenue directly to all 88 counties and some of the major cities in Ohio. That's local money, the money that the local governments can use to fund these vital services, perhaps the most vital of which is police and fire safety. Let me just give you one example. The Richland County Sheriff's Department earlier this year was forced to lay off 10 deputies because of the economic crisis that they are going through in Richland County. A few of those deputies have been hired back by grant money, but that's a temporary solution. With the casino tax revenue, when it begins to come in, Richland County will receive more than $3.6 million of new money a year. And that kind of story will be repeated all around the state. Historically, the FOP has not favored gambling issues. Last year, as you may recall, we opposed the ballot issue that would have put one casino in Clinton County. We opposed it because it failed to address the concerns of the law enforcement community. But this issue addresses those concerns. It allocates a vast majority of the casino tax to the counties, cities, and local school districts. And beyond that, it allocates 2% of those proceeds, the projected revenue, or $13 million a year, specifically for law enforcement training. We also recognize the need in our largest cities for the economic revitalization. This plan meets that by creating more than 34,000 jobs statewide at a time when the state's unemployment rate is over 11%. And it guarantees a minimum of $1 billion in private investment in the 4 cities that would host the casinos. One other thing, our members, like many Ohioans, are simply tired of seeing more than $1 billion a year of Ohio money leaving the state as Ohioans travel to casinos in neighboring states. It's time we start keeping that money and the tax revenue it produces here in Ohio. Now that I give you a state FOP perspective, I'll introduce Jim Gilbert, President of local Capital City Lodge 9, from the local perspective.
Ohio Jobs and Growth Plan statewide. I'd like to take just a moment or two to discuss why here in Franklin County, specifically Columbus, Capital City Lodge number 9, FOP Lodge number 9, is supporting this as well. While law enforcement is our primary mission and our primary concern, we're also citizens of this community. And we believe that more than $250 million in private investment and thousands of new jobs are good for the community. We also believe that this particular issue was developed with a real understanding of the needs here in Franklin County. This plan will produce more than $16 million a year in new tax revenue for Franklin County and another $16 million to the city of Columbus alone. We've been lucky so far. We haven't seen layoffs of our safety forces, and as you know, the voters of Columbus approved just last week an increase in their income tax. But we also know that it is getting increasingly difficult for cities and counties to fund all the services that must be provided to their citizens. This plan will make a big difference, and it will make a big difference on a permanent basis. We're looking forward to being able to tell the story to our fellow citizens, not only in the city of Columbus, but and throughout the county, where we represent over 28 law enforcement agencies here in Franklin County. We're proud to be a part of Cops for Casinos. Representing those active and retired law enforcement officers in Franklin County, this is an important issue. And we believe everything has been outlined properly for this to be a good solution to what we need here in Franklin County, as well as the state of Ohio.
Wherever there are casinos, the crime rate is higher than non-casino areas, so what's your response to that?
Yes, sir. As my duties as the legislature of the state of Ohio, FOP, I've also sat through many of the hearings, and I know that there are conflicting studies. I've heard some testify that have expressed that the studies indicate there's no increase. Some testify that there is. From conversations that we have had with law enforcement officers in areas where casinos are, they have found in those areas that there's really no difference than any other type of venue that draws a large crowd, such as the Ohio State Fair, the Ohio State football games would be one good example. When those events occur, there is a need for additional resources and additional police. They found that it does not attract crime, but there's a need for additional resources. We believe that this plan allocates money to actually address those additional resources.
Has there been a study done to take a look at what the potential issues might be? Is there a crime impact study as part of this that you've looked at to know what it would be like in the arena district?
There have been conflicting studies. We have not run a study. I've heard testimony during hearings at the State House of conflicting statements about whether it attracts crimes. All we know is that our brother law enforcement officials in those areas say it's no different than a large event that comes in. You need additional resources to address it. Doesn't